Siomra Beag.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to On Siomra Beag. Welcome back to the digital tiny room. I'm the Michael of Michael and Benjamin's podcast. And this week I am joined by the man who I found floating in the Caribbean with no memories of his previous life. It's Benjamin, or is it Colopy?
I've got excellent muscle memory though, Michael. Anytime you get in a tight spot, I just whip out some moves and you're like, where did that come from? I'm like, I don't know.
I've seen you parkour up the side of a building, Ben, to rescue a pigeon. I was like, that was a disproportionate response to a situation.
One of the weirdest moments of muscle memory, Michael, is when I break spontaneously into song. Would you like to...
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have anything music.
Very good. Very upsetting,
Yeah.
but very good. Like the film Jason Bourne. Benjamin.
Jason Bourne. Yeah,
It's,
go on.
it's Jason fucking Bourne, Ben.
Oh my god, it's Jason Bourne.
Oh my god, it's Jason fucking Bourne. That was the illusion we were doing in the intro this week, that you are a secret deep undercover podcaster who has years of podcasting skills, but you've forgotten most of them and now you're trying to live a normal life. But you can be triggered, Ben, by any sort of moment of two people having a conversation.
Yeah, between the pair of us, Michael, I am Jason Bourne, and you are Jonathan Raised, and we are Born and Raised.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very
so there
good,
you go.
Benjamin. That's very good. I want to make a TV show.
The pair of us can be born and raised.
That's very good, Ben. Which of us is going to be by the book and which of us is going to be a loose cannon?
You are the most by the book man for the job, Michael.
I'm a loose
Without
cannon,
a
Ben.
doubt.
I'm going to push something over, but not. I don't want to disrupt the podcast with unusual sounds. Imagine I'm pushing something over.
Explosion.
What are we doing?
I am loose cannon by merit only of pure fuckwittery. I don't
And
think
you'll
it
do a
would
parkour on the side of a building, Ben, as soon as you look at it.
only to save a pigeon.
Only to save a pigeon or a seagull, Ben, because they often get in trouble.
Michael,
What are we
we've been looking at stuff this week.
Oh,
Michael.
yeah, that's what we do here.
And that's what we do here. And we got a trailer for the second season of, I think, one of our favourite shows of 2020.
Was it 2020? I might have
Was
been
it
2019.
It could have been 29. One of our favourite shows of 2019. Love, Death and Robots is getting a second season, Michael.
Very good, Ben. An anthology series.
Yes, it's an anthology series. Lots of little snippets, Michael, and completely animated.
Benjamin,
Yeah.
does that mean there'll be less Topher Grace and or Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
Which is all I require of any of my TV or movie watching these days, Michael.
You take that back about the delightful Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Benjamin, can
Yes.
I say my greatest hope for season 2 of Love, Death and Robots?
Yeah, go on. Tell me your greatest hopes. Tell me your greatest hopes in general, Michael.
I won't, Ben. I'll keep that for another podcast. I'll keep that for Crushing Reality. Our third most popular podcast. Benjamin, shut up for a second. Let me finish my thought. What was I saying? I hope there are no sequels.
Oh, no. No
I
part
hope we get
twos.
10 to 12 original ideas.
Yeah, I only ever want snippets into other universes, Michael. That's what I want.
That's all I want. I want snippets of a lady who turns into a robot fox, Ben.
Yeah, that was mad, wasn't it? That one was a bit weird.
Ben, I want people on a farming planet driving mechs.
Yeah, I want people trapped in a crypt with ancient vampire boys.
Yeah, what was that got to do with robots?
It was death.
Oh, it was death. You're right. Yeah,
death.
yeah. They weren't all robots. That's
It was
also
no. Some
what
of
I
them were
did
about
like.
love, and some of them were about death, Michael.
Benjamin, I
couple
think
of robots.
my favorite moment in the trailer is the poop. There's a big graphic dog poop, and there's a dog poop picking up robot. That's my favorite moment.
That does not shock me. That does
yeah.
not shock me.
I'm very
actually-
scatological, Ben, at times.
You are. No, it was scatterbrained, Michael. Remember we covered this.
Ah.
We covered
Ah.
this. Have you been
Benjamin.
telling people that you're very scatological?
Benjamin, if I didn't,
Oh, no good.
if I didn't schedule you in every week, you would forget to do this podcast. How very dare you call me scatterbrained?
This podcast would not exist if I did not receive a WhatsApp message saying 12.
12. Benjamin, how very dare you call me scatterbrained?
It wouldn't exist.
No.
It wouldn't exist. That's very, very true. Michael,
Hello.
from one Netflix thing to another Netflix thing.
What a pedestrian segue.
Yeah, it was terrible. A pedestrian Segway are available for rent in most tourist towns.
Very good.
But
Better.
yes, I went and watched a bloody young adult adopted TV show this week.
It doesn't sound like my cup of tea. I'm glad you've done it.
Shadow and Bone is what I got my teeth into this week. And Shadow and Bone is kind of an interesting attempt. It's like, it's a very interesting thing. So it's a late 18th century, early 19th century Victorian era kind of gig.
All right, Anne Rice.
But it's set in a very different world, Michael. And in this world, it's a bit of magic.
Good. Yeah, good. You had me at magic. Yeah, you had me at mystery.
And it's pretty interesting. It's based on a series of books by Lee Bardugo. I hope I pronounced that right. Apologies to Miss Bardugo if I didn't get that right. But Lee Bardugo wrote these series, and they're kind of a young adult sensation, Michael. A young adult sensation.
Is this the movie that came out a few years ago where there's shadow magic and there's angels and whatnot?
I think that might have been the Mortal Instruments.
Yes, that might be what I'm thinking of.
But they are interchangeable in my mind. So,
okay.
To me, that doesn't make much of a difference. But in this one, it's not set in the modern day at all. It's set in a fictional country, the name of which escapes me, but through the middle of this, Ravka. So you have East Ravka and West Ravka.
Right.
And
up the Westies.
Fair enough. And in this world, Michael, they're all at war with each other because right through the middle of their country is a giant kind of nexus into another dimension called the Fold.
Oh.
And the Fold is kind of a huge swathe of land that is covered in darkness, and you travel into the Fold by ship. So they go through them in ships. You can't use technology in the Fold. It doesn't work very well. So it has to be either steam powered or things like, there's no easy way of getting around it. And the size of the Fold is such that traveling around the Fold is not very convenient, Michael. And for the purposes of trade, economy, and convenience, people will often try and come up with new ways to risk their lives in getting through the Fold faster. So there's a lot of interesting concepts at play here, Michael. There are two armies at war. Yeah,
it's like the Suez Canal.
It is a bit like the Suez Canal, Michael, if there was a big ship stuck in the middle of it. Only this time, it's a big bloody extra-dimensional thing with big scary monsters in it called the Volca.
Oh no, I don't like the sound of them.
And the Volca are big predatory kind of big winged vampire yolks, and they eat people.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's grim stuff. So within this world, Michael, we get to see our world building set up as we have the Emperor who's trying to bring these two disparate sides of his country back together. And then we have the soldiers that have to do all the grunt work, obviously, and they're stationed at the Fold, and they make sure nothing comes out of the Fold or goes into the Fold or without permission of the thing. But what's interesting is, in this world, there's a higher class of soldier called a Grisha, and Grisha are a little bit like firebenders, waterbenders, earthbenders, and airbenders from Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Right, they're benders.
They're benders, yeah. And in general, you have a few extra classes in there. You have a bloodbender, Michael.
Oh.
A bone bender. You have people called tailors.
I would like to apply for the position of bone bender, please.
I do a podcast with a 2-year-old.
How do you apply for the position of bone bender, please, Benjamin?
I don't know. I don't have a bone bending form available to me. But within that world, the Grisha are there. Yes,
Benjamin,
go on.
Would you say that you don't have a bone bending bone in your body?
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
You learned words that sound the same on top of each other. Well done.
Yeah, no, they didn't just sound the same. They were the same, Ben. That was the joy of it.
That was the whole joy of it.
That was the whole joy.
But within this world, Michael, the rarest of benders is a shadow bender or a darkness bender.
Oh.
And he's played by Benjamin Barnes, and there's only one in existence. And there's a long fabled sun summoner, Michael. Sun Summoner. And the Sun Summoner is believed to be, they can manipulate the light particles in the air and do all kinds of fancy magic-y things. Ill-defined magic-y things, Michael. Yeah. That's where the series kind of falls down. And within the world of this show, Michael, they find the Sun Summoner, and that's the central conceit of the plot. The whole world mobilizes to try and get this young woman who is the Sun Summoner, because she represents to tradesmen a new way to get through the Fold. She represents to militaries a new way to get, to end the conflict. She represents different things to different people, and it's very interesting. And there's a little crew of Victorian Cockney kind of pickpockets and assassins as well. So if you didn't get your fill of weird military magic people, you can have a Cockney bunch of scallywags running around trying to get her. Yeah,
so
it's great.
you could just double feature it with the Nevers and get all sorts of
pretty
cockney
much.
scallywags in one afternoon.
That's a pretty solid analogy. I have completely given up on the Nevers. It's interesting. I never went back.
I have quite enjoyed it, Ben. I'm up to episode 3. Episode 3 has a very Whedon-esque twist, which I won't go any further in spoiling. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think it is really quite good.
Oh, there we go. Good for you.
Good for you, as
I'm
Christian
delighted.
Bale would say.
Oh, good for you.
Very good.
Such an
Benjamin,
interesting man. Yeah, go on.
I'll tell you what, though.
Go on.
All this chit and chat, but we haven't covered what I think is easily the best program on the television at the moment.
Lies.
And that is, Benjamin, BBC's Line of Duty. Have you not heard of this, Ben?
No,
I don't watch it. It's a joke. I was doing a joke, but it's
What's
it's a BBC prestige cop show, mostly made with Northern Ireland actors, and I think maybe even filmed partially in Northern Ireland. But it's about London anti-corruption cops. It was a joke, Ben. Everyone's watching it, Ben. Who isn't us? Everyone not neck deep in the genre world.
Everyone who watches normal television is watching it.
Yeah, anyone who watches TV cop shows, like what was the one you came up with earlier? Born and
Raised.
Yeah. Anyone who watches those shows is neck deep in person of interest. Citizen's arrest. No, that's not what it's called. What's it called, Ben? Line of duty. Point of order. Line of duty. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, Thandie Newton's in it. It's good. Anyway, Ben, what are we talking about? We're talking about the TV show, Ben, the animated televisual program Invincible, aka the best 8 episodes of a thing of this year, easily by far.
Oh yeah?
Absolutely incredible.
Are we doing full spoilers since it's wrapped up?
Well, look, it only wrapped up on Friday, so we'll do full spoilers.
With a little spoiler break.
With a little spoiler break. We'll put a little break in here, so no spoilers. If you know nothing about Invincible, we'll have a little spoiler break for you. Which you might not, Ben, but I suspect you probably do, because the big twist, of course, is that is the main selling point of Invincible. That's the point. You don't know him. Well, the point of Invincible is the twist that happens, which we have covered many times on this program, Ben.
We have.
And we're about to spoil again. But the twist that happens is what makes Invincible stand out as an interesting superhero concept. Otherwise,
go on.
It's just a good what if Superman was Spider-Man story.
Okay, go on.
You know, it's just about imagine Superman but grown up like Spider-Man and having real teen problems and real teen issues.
Boom.
But then, Ben, it's one of the biggest twists of all time, and the biggest twist of all time is that bloody Drum That Faster boy. What's his name again?
Miles Teller.
No, not
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, yeah, J.K. Simmons. That J.K. Simmons, Drum That Faster boy. No, not that fast. That's too fast.
You silly boy.
Yeah, he turns out to be evil, Ben.
Dun, dun, dun.
And he goes on a big mad rampage to bring Earth into the Viltrumite Empire.
Oh, no good.
And I tell you what, Ben, it's gross and horrible.
Oh, does he do some messy stuff?
Oh, it's gross and horrible. We won't go too in-depth into it, but my good lady friend, Ben, who I watch Invincible with, slapped me and said, Michael, this is too much.
Oh, wow.
I didn't make it. Stop hitting me.
Wow.
That's domestic abuse. Luckily, I'm very manly and tough.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Famously so.
Famously butch, Michael.
Yeah. Like very dangerous, Ben. I'd kill a man as soon as look at him. Benjamin.
Yeah.
Like the character Omni-Man from Dublin's North Side. It is very good, though. The big question, Ben, is it better than the comic?
Probably not.
I think it is. I think you're a liar. I think you're a filthy liar. And I think it is, because I think, as we've talked about before, sometimes, Ben, adaptations can miss the point. Mm-hmm. And they can be like, let's just steal all the kind of flashy concepts and just get down to it with flashy stuff.
And rewrite it our way.
And make it not really that much like the thing that it was based on.
Oh, I love when they do that. It's the best.
Oh, sometimes people don't like it. And I sometimes, Ben, am one of those people who doesn't like it. But in this, Ben... Yeah, I know. Imagine me not liking something. But in this, Ben, because they have the original creative team involved, and because someone at Amazon Prime has had the cojones and the huevos rancheros to say, go for it. Like, go for it. Go gross and horrible and bloody and violent and disgusting. And, you know, take what you wrote before, reimagine it for a slightly updated times. You know, take advantage of this second go-around and readjust some things that maybe you didn't love about the first one.
Maybe a little bit of diversity, Robert?
A bit of diversity in Robert. Have you ever heard of people who don't look like you, Robert? Maybe put some of them in. Some of the minor characters, though, Robert. Let's not cause too much of a stink. Although, was Invincible always half Asian, Ben?
No.
I think, was he not? I mean, you could argue it's not clear in the comic, and his mother
it isn't.
Yeah. So I mean, he could have been.
He could have been, but I think it's a much clearer ethnicity in this one, where he is. Well, actually, it's not clearly defined. Sure, it isn't.
No. Yeah, I mean, we assume because it's all Asian actors playing the characters, but I like the fact that they don't make a big deal of it.
Yeah, why would you?
Yeah, I don't think we ever learned Debbie's maiden name.
Do we need it? Is it
No,
necessary for us to know
Doesn't matter.
Mark Grayson's ethnic origins?
No, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Ben, they've taken the highlights of it. They've rejigged some things. They've moved some things around. It's better. It's definitely better.
It's better.
It has J.K. Simmons in it.
Yeah, I mean, J.K. Simmons makes lots of things better.
Even Ben, the design of Omni-Man is better.
We should get J.K. Simmons on this podcast. He'd make it better.
Ben, J.K. Simmons would love to be on this podcast. He'd be like, Ben, speed up. Not that fast, boy. Did he win an Oscar?
I think he did. Surely he's won an Oscar. J.K. Simmons is a national treasure of a different country, but still.
Yeah, he's someone's national treasure. He'd be like, give me that Oscar faster, boy. No, not that fast. Quickly.
God damn it, award boy.
Ben, I love the film Whiplash. It's brilliant.
It's a very good film. I often think of our relationship in terms of Whiplash, Michael.
Yeah. I'm J.K. Simmons, and you're not Miles Teller. You're the guy who gets Miles Teller kicked out of the orchestra.
Nice. Nailed it. The sneaky, underhanded guy.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about the film, Michael. I mean, it feels like emotional whiplash to do this podcast with you. I quite often cry afterwards.
Yeah. Well, look, that's part of the emotional drama of it, Ben. That's why the listeners keep coming back.
It's the tension.
Yeah.
Michael, I think he did. We didn't talk about the Oscars.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Did the Oscars happen?
The Oscars happened.
I have to say now, I didn't notice. When was that?
We weren't there, Michael.
We weren't invited this year because of COVID.
Because of COVID. That's the only reason we weren't invited. There is no other reason we were not invited to the Oscars.
Yeah. Well, you're a member of the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Michael, it happened. It was a thing. There were a couple of shake-ups and a bit of an insult, depending on who you ask. But one of the key things to come out of it is that Chloe Zhao won the Oscar for Best Director, and she is only the second woman in 93 Oscars to do so.
Who was the first?
Katherine
Heigl. Katherine
Bigelow.
Katherine Heigl for the film She's Having That Baby. What was that called again?
Zero Dark 30.
Knocked Up. Yeah. For the film Knocked Up.
Katherine Heigl in I'm Having That Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that was a bit of a shake-up. She is going to be directing. She won it for Nomadland, and she is going to be directing a Marvel film. So I'd say Disney and Marvel are rubbing their hands together with absolute glee, going, we have an award. We have an Academy Award-winning director doing one of our films, because I think that might be the first time.
Did Kenneth Branagh ever win an Academy Award?
Or perhaps Kenneth Branagh did.
I don't know if he did. Does Louis Leterrier ever win the Academy Award? I know he didn't, Ben. That's a bit of...
Who on earth is Louis Leterrier?
He did The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Let's hope. Let's
see what I was doing
hope. There. But I suppose what's more of more interest to us, Michael, is that many people in Hollywood are quite insulted by the way in which Mr. Chadwick Boseman's memory was treated.
Yes, Benjamin, I've read about this. I forgot about this. Apparently, the whole thing was set up on the assumption that Chadwick Boseman, was going to win Best Actor. So they even moved Best Actor to the final category, which they never do. Best Actor Best Film is always the final category. So they moved Best Actor to the final category and then announced Anthony Hopkins as the winner, and Anthony Hopkins wasn't even there.
Yeah.
And River or Simon Phoenix or whatever his name is was like, well, I guess it's over then.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's bizarre.
Brilliant.
It's bizarre. I mean, on the one hand, I'm not certain that giving anybody an Oscar based purely on the fact that they've passed away is one thing or the other. But apparently, Anthony Hopkins asked if he could attend by Zoom and was not accommodated. He was told no. So then Anthony Hopkins just went, all right, you know what? Feck it. I'm not going to bother with that at all. And he stayed in bed and he just let the Oscars go on without him. And he won it for The Father, which by all accounts is a very harrowing film that I don't really fancy watching, to be honest.
No, thank you, Anthony Hopkins. Benjamin.
Yeah.
In other news, did you see that Kevin Feige has said that Gemma Chan's Cersei is the lead of the Eternals?
What?
Yeah.
Get out of town.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Because she's
That
certainly
is
not.
weird.
She's certainly not front and center on the posters.
No.
It's all that
If
fella
anything,
from Game of Thrones.
She's back into the side.
Yeah, she's off there to the side.
I think that was when Game of Thrones had actual cultural value.
Yeah. And now it's like, oh no, there are no people from Game of Thrones in this. Don't you worry.
Isn't that the most fascinating thing in the world? You build up a series that is, quite frankly, the most dominant pop culture force on the planet for 5 years running, minimum, right? And then you just botch it.
Completely.
So much so that people don't even want to remember the good times. They're just like, no, it never happened.
Never happened. Never heard of it. Never saw it. You say that, Ben, but no, it's not weird. It's not all that uncommon.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it happened with Lost as well.
Oh, Lost was a piece of crap. No good.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't, Ben. The first 2.5 series of Lost are some of the best television ever made. Some of the best serialized, like, drama TV ever made were the first 2.5 seasons of Lost. Incredible. And then botched the landing, and now Lost is a bad word in television circles. It happens
It is a bad word.
all the time.
No good.
All the time. But Ben, you have to rise that high to be able to drop that low.
Oh, well, I mean, there's a true... Oh, Michael, just spitting out philosophical life.
Yeah, as the ancient Chinese saying goes, Ben, Lost became shit after season 2.
You look, like, that's on our podcast, Michael, our upcoming one was Bourne and Raised, how to gain emotional maturity in your older age.
I thought it was about cops.
Oh, you misunderstood.
Oh, I thought we were cops.
It's two loose cannon podcast goes. It's trying to learn emotional intelligence. It's a whole thing.
Okay, I don't know if you can
Born
use
and
the
raised.
name. I don't know if you can use the name Jason Bourne, Ben. I don't know if you hold copyright on it.
I'll call myself J Bourne then.
Anyway, Ben, here's
go
the
on.
real question. Why
Go on.
in the hell are we talking about Jason Bourne? And
Jason
Ben,
Bourne.
have I accidentally skipped some of the podcast to get to the point?
No, I don't think you have. I think
Oh,
we're good and clean and ready for the main
All right.
topic of the week.
Chugging along.
It's probably because we've run out of news so quickly this week, Michael. We don't normally run out of news to this extent, but we have. Let's jump into it, Michael.
All right, let's
Jason
jump in.
Bourne. Michael, as you know, the original Suicide Squad by David Ayer is a piece of rubbish. It's a stretched out MTV music video with some strange casting choices, some odd performances, and snake hips from Hollywood's most forgettable leading lady, Cara Delevingne.
Who?
Exactly. Who has now kind of faded into obscurity somewhat. But I was originally given a role and made a very interesting choice to be like, oh, I'll just move my hips. That's going to be my character progression. How do you intimidate an entire world? Do you act like a big scary god? Do you do a bit of magic? No, you shake your hips.
Slippery snake.
Yep, she so she went through all that, and that movie is not very good.
People didn't really like it, Ben.
People didn't really like it. Margot Robbie has made a career out of it, but aside from that, people didn't really like it.
Was that her introduction as Harley Quinn?
That was her introduction as Harley Quinn.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
And has made not even the charisma of one Willard Smith could save that film.
No.
And it, oh man, just. It should be that bad. Like, it had a decent cast. It should have been better than what it was.
Well, it was no use, Ben. It was poorly written, poorly directed. It was just a poor concept from the beginning. It was very generic.
V generic. But anyway, they're giving it a shake. It's getting a second shake, Michael, and we're getting the new one, which is based on the kind of old wars, like the Dirty Dozen, the old war films, the old war films,
The good
like
old
the Dirty
wars,
Dozen.
Ben. Remember them?
And it's kind of a ragtag bunch of people that don't really get along. A pack of bastards, if you will, and they got to go do something, and maybe they'll find their hearts of gold along the way, Michael. And it's directed by James Gunn. It's been largely written by James Gunn, so I'd say it's going to be a fairly decent film. But it's all about Black Ops, Michael.
Yes, Ben. They're being sent in. They're doing wet works.
I mean, it's supposed to be about Black Ops, Michael, but very often I don't think that the people running various government suicide squads know what Black Ops mean. You don't give people big shiny helmets and costumes, Michael, when you're doing Black Ops. No. That's not how it works.
No, Ben, you give them black versions of their normal costumes.
And then you sell variant covers to young, impressionable people who buy comic books, and you're like, this is going to be worth something someday. And you're like, oh, is it? No, it isn't.
No, it isn't. Trust me.
It isn't. Trust me. If you take nothing else from the Michael and Benjamin's podcast, please take that.
Don't invest in
Variant
comics.
covers ain't worth spit. But anyway, Michael, and that got us onto the topic of the old wet works, Michael. The old wet works, the old bagman jobs, the old get it done quietly, get it done quickly. The film was originally supposed to be out around now, I think, Michael, which is why we had this penned in at the time. And now we've just gone ahead with it, even
Classic
though because
Hollywood,
we can't.
Ben. Classic Hollywood.
We can't adapt to Hollywood's whims and capricious wants. So I don't have time for it anymore.
Don't have time for it, Ben.
So we went ahead with
things to do.
So that got us thinking about some of the fan favorites, Michael, out there in the fictional Black Ops world. Now it should be pointed out that I do not have any Black Ops experience, and everything I've said so far could be completely wrong.
Well, Benjamin, legally you have to say that, don't you? For a reason we can't disclose.
For reasons we can't disclose. But I've certainly never made an entire literary career out of saying that I was in Black Ops once upon a time and then wrote a series of 8,500 books about it.
Yeah, Andy McNabb.
Tom Clancy.
Get out of here.
Those guys have made an entire career out of just being like, I swear I was. And now I write books, and you know, those are some good books.
I'm doing a big wink, Ben.
You are doing a big
I'm doing
wink.
a big comical wink.
Very disturbing. But yeah, generally speaking, we run into this. It's a whole genre unto itself, Michael. Is the former special ops book market. It's weird. People are really into, spy stuff. They're really into it. And it got me thinking, there's one particular type of character that I enjoy, and the character is I'll never go back to Black Ops. All right, just this once. And it's my favorite character, Michael, and it comes in so many different forms and so many bizarre iterations. The most famous of which, being, I guess, Rambo.
John Rambo.
John Rambo's
a weird one, Ben, though, because John Rambo has a character reinvention every time we see him.
Yeah, sometimes he has serious PTSD, which is an excellent comment on, what the Vietnam War did to the various soldiers that it brought back. Mm-hmm. And then other times he's just a big angry man. Yeah,
so like in Rambo in First Blood, sorry, it's not called Rambo. In First Blood.
First Blood.
Is that what it's called? Or is it called Rambo First Blood? The first one.
I think it's Rambo First Blood.
I think it's just called First Blood. The first one.
I think Sylvester Stallone only does movies if the name of the character is in the title.
Demolition Man.
Rocky.
Oh no, hold on. He wasn't Demolition Man though. The baddie was Demolition Man.
He was, yeah, he was the Demolition Man.
Was he?
Yeah, because he used to cause so much chaos, but he got the job done.
Stop or my mom will shoot. The famous character, stop or my mom will shoot.
This week?
Benjamin,
what's going on?
What are we talking about? In the first
Rambo.
one, Ben, he's a veteran back from the war, and he just wants to be left alone.
He just wants to be left alone. Leave me alone.
He's got PTSD. That whole film is about don't poke the bear. Like, if veterans come back with PTSD, just leave them alone. Let them hobo through your town and get on with their life. Then in the second one, they convert him into a patriotic, gun-toting action hero.
Yeah, Rambo.
Yeah, and in the third one, he's essentially like a flag-waving American Terminator.
Yes.
And then by the time of the fourth one, he's a grizzled old veteran who, you know, he's a mercenary. He's a gun for hire, and he'll go and kill any Burmese person that you want. He'll just blow the shit out of them. And then in the last one, he's an entirely new character, Ben. He's a man on a farm who won't stop talking about emotions and relationships and building mad tunnels.
That doesn't make any sense.
Not one of those films, Ben, featured the same character. They are
not a
5
consistent
different
series.
films. They are 5 different films. They could even have been written as 5 different films. And someone said, we could just call the main guy in that Rambo, couldn't we? And then someone else went, but if we called it Rambo, we might be able to sell more film tickets. And then the first guy went, I think you're onto an idea there, Jonathan Raised.
Num 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 num. And then they went and made a lot of money because apparently those films still make money. Yeah, so I mean that kind of whole character is a genre unto itself. So it's interesting that you said that about the franchise. I think you pointed out to me before the episode. I'm not sure John Rambo is special ops.
No, I don't know if he is or not.
But he is a killing machine.
Well, he becomes a killing machine, but he doesn't kill anyone in First Blood.
Does he not?
No, have you seen the film Rambo First Blood, Ben?
No, I haven't.
He's a homeless vagrant who's back from Vietnam and he wants to be left alone. And the local sheriff decides to move him on out of town.
He's a good old boy.
Yeah, with increasingly aggressive... He doesn't like his long hair because he's a hippie. And with increasingly aggressive tactics. And John Rambo just wants to be left alone and he goes into the forest to hide. And they insist on trying to chase him and hunt him down. And I think 2 people die in First Blood and they're both accidental.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, John Rambo... Okay, the John Rambo who's in Mortal Kombat 13 is...
a killing machine.
A Black Ops killing machine with like a darkened knife, and he'll sneak up behind you and stab a Terminator or a Reptile or a Sonya Blade.
You can't stab a Terminator.
You can in the Mortal Kombat franchise. You know, he'll stab a Spawn. Is Spawn in Mortal Kombat? I think he was.
He probably is.
He'll stab the Joker, or he'll stab Jax in the metal arm. But yeah, Rambo's a weird character. I don't know if he necessarily is a Black Ops character, really.
All right, but that brings me to the next one, Michael, which is even better. So, once upon a time, in what I now assume to be a fever dream,
yes,
I was flicking through RTE. Not flicking through. I was flicking through the channels and came to RTE.
Yeah.
And upon that was a film, Michael, and the film was called Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher, Ben, 6'10".
6'10", mountain of muscle. Very calm man. And what I watched, Michael, was Tom Cruise go around a town in Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And just fuck people up.
Beating people up.
For an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Run and fuck people up. So much so that it just seems like he fucks one person up and then runs to the next person to get them fucked up too.
He's so small, though.
He's so small.
How is he winning any fights? He's so small.
But so efficient, Michael. But so efficient. And this obviously was very successful because it got a second one. It got a sequel. There is a Jack Reacher 2. Reacher 2 Reach Around.
I was just going to do the same project. Oh, no. Oh, what have I become? What am I reduced to?
That's insulting for you.
Oh, no. Jack Reacher 3, a bit of a stretch.
Both in concept and in actual practice.
Exactly, yeah. It's about Tom Cruise trying to get something off a high shelf. Because he's only a tiny little fella.
Give it to me. Yeah, so look, it's this fascinating thing of the grizzled kind of veteran that can't be stopped. Do you know what I mean? And they always have the same scenes in these films. Because another one that comes from that universe is Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit. It's just bizarre. It's like, I'm a mild-mannered kind of paper guy. Don't look at me twice. I'm just going about and then all of a sudden, wham! Actually, I'm a killing machine, and it's bizarre. It's the strangest thing in the world. They're my favorite movies, and that's why Jason Bourne was so high on the list. Because if ever there was an epitome of that lone killing machine, former special ops kind of thing, it's bloody Jason Bourne.
It's Jason fucking Bourne.
It's Jason fucking Bourne. He's just ridiculous. He's all muscle memory, Michael, for the first 45 minutes of that film, where he's just like, wham, wham, wham. He beats up a police officer who pokes him on a bench.
Yeah, he's kicking him on. He's kicking him on the head. He's beating you up with a magazine. He'll beat you up with anything.
He lights toasters on fire using the same magazine, Michael.
Yeah.
Clive Owens in it.
Yeah, he beats up, I think,
Owens?
Carl Urban. Does he beat up Carl Urban?
He gives Carl Urban a run for his money.
Is Carl?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Oh yeah, he'll beat up anyone, Ben. So Benjamin,
Yeah.
you said to me we're looking at special forces teams, and I said, "Oh, let's get edgy. Let's get dark. Let's get black suits coming." I didn't watch Men in Black, Ben. I went back to some. I should have. I went back to some comic books, and
some comic books.
and I was thinking, does Marvel have an equivalent, Ben, of the Suicide Squad? Does it have an equivalent of a dark Wetworks undercover team of badasses? And not really. No, it doesn't. Really, does it?
Does.
Who?
It does.
Go on.
The Thunderbolts.
But the Thunderbolts are quite different from Suicide Squad in that
Go on.
the Thunderbolts' whole thing is they're very public.
Yeah, that's true. They're a villain force.
They're a villain force, and the whole point of them is, look at these new superheroes. You'll like them. They're better than the old superheroes. This one's like Hawkeye, but he's not a prick.
This one's like Hawkeye, but not Jeremy Renner, and so better.
Yeah, much better than Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner was in the Jason Bourne series. He was in the attempted reboot where they made him into a super
Yeah,
soldier.
I'm Jason Bourne-esque.
Jason, dear God, it's Jason Bourne. Oh no, wait, it's Jeremy Renner.
It's Jeremy Renner again.
It's a whole different thing. Sorry, you were saying Marvel.
What was I saying?
Thunderbolts.
Yes.
You're right.
So Benjamin,
You're right.
what I did, Ben, for you and for the listeners, is I went back to 2010's Uncanny X Force. I think, is it Force?
X-Force.
Yes. So Ben,
Yes.
for the non X-Men fans out there, you have the X-Men.
Yes.
They're the main fellas.
And they're a grand bunch of lads,
Bunch
a
of
shining
lads.
example of what mutants should be.
Yes. You have X Factor, Ben.
Simon Cowell's ill-fated show where he churned out young stars and used them and abused them and then dumped them.
Yeah, nothing ill-fated about X Factor, Ben. It was highly successful and produced...
But morally reprehensible.
Yeah, no use. But you have X Factor, and X Factor, Ben, started out as the original X-Men going back to their roots, but then later kind of morphed into the government-sponsored X-Men team.
Oh, classic.
Yeah. And Ben, you also have X-Force. And X-Force are the hard line in the sand. We're getting the job done. We're going to get this job done. There's a job.
Hard line in the sand.
We're going to get this job done. I'm Cable, and these are the X-Force. And X-Force, Ben, were always the no-nonsense getting the job done mutants.
Yeah, they were.
And
they're led by Wolverine.
They were led by Cable originally, weren't they?
Oh, you're going back to the 90s.
Well,
You're
I'm
going
talking about
way
the
back.
origin of it. But then, Ben, they were reinvented more recently.
They were, yeah.
To be the Black Op wing of the X-Men, Ben, who do things that no one can know about, even in the main continuity. And even sometimes, though that would contradict Wolverine being able to be in two places at one time.
Because he's quite often in two places.
Don't think about it. You don't even worry about this whole Black Ops world that's going on in the background. So Ben, in 2010, Wolverine and Archangel, aka Warren Worthington III, decided we're going to do the missions that no other X-Men can do or even know about, and you better not tell anyone, because the whole point is that we're taking the pressure off the other mutants, and we're the killer mutants, so we'll kill anybody who's bad.
I mean, solid logic all around.
Yeah. So they get Wolverine, Ben, because he'll stab a man to death, no worries.
For the bants.
Yeah,
for the lols.
They get
for the waffles.
No, Ben, there's two other characters for the bants and the lols, unfortunately.
Okay.
They have Warren Worthington as Archangel, Ben, and he'll stab a man to death with his metal wings.
Because he's still under the kind of programming of one apocalypse.
Yes, exactly, Ben. And they get Psylocke, aka the British British
ninja
lady in an Asian body with mind powers. And then they round out the team with your favourite character and mine, Deadpool.
Ah, what a classic.
So he's always messing and jessing, and he's doing jokes and he's talking to his own butt and stuff. It's hilarious. And he's in a grey suit, Ben. You know the famous Daredevil, the famous Deadpool grey and black suit?
Yeah.
That's where this comes from.
That we saw at the end of Deadpool 2.
And Ben, the team is rounded out with Phantom X.
Who's a weird character.
He's your favourite character, Ben. So he's a mysterious mutant, Ben, he's created by your favourite creator and mine, Ben, Granty M.
Oh, Granty M. Granty M.
He's created by Granty M, so you know that his powers are going to be ill-defined and nonsensical.
Shite.
Yeah, so he has 3 brains, Ben, and he has his nervous system is a spaceship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he can do. And he can also create illusions, which he calls misdirections, Ben. And they're very convincing illusions.
Oh, very good.
And he's also French.
Ah, look, sure, it's sold.
So he's based on characters like Diabolique, Ben, one of your favourite pre-comic book characters.
Yeah. True.
And he also has bants with himself, Ben. So you've got 2 wacky zany characters who are always bantering.
Bantosaurus Rexes.
It's like a herd of Bantosauri Rex, Ben, up in this comic book. And the whole point is that the 3 grumpy ones and the 2 banty ones, basically, and they go on adventures and they do the dark and evil things that the normal X-Men can't do.
They find a little baby apocalypse.
They find a little baby apocalypse, Ben, and that's the whole point, that they've the what are they called? The Akkadi? What are the apocalypse followers? Anyway, they create a new apocalypse, Ben. His name is Ben, and they try to raise him as a young boy and turn him evil. So the X-Force are sent in to sort it out. But when they get there, Ben, none of them can kill him because they decide they're not that special forces.
Why?
Because it's just a child, Ben.
Get out of it.
But then don't worry, Ben, your favourite character, Phantom X, and spoilers here for a 2010 comic, shoots him in the head.
Oh, good.
Classic. Yeah. Classic Phantom X.
That whole series was rebooted previous to that, Michael, in 2006, and it was Warpath, Wolverine, Archangel, Wolfsbane.
Yes.
And I can't remember the last character.
I think it was Psylocke as well, still.
Could have been still Psylocke. Very interesting. Drawn by Clayton Crane. Some of the darkest, muddiest artwork I've ever seen in a comic book in that original run. But a perfect example, Michael, of an old comic book Black Ops team.
Send them in, Ben. Send them in to do the hits what the other characters can't know about.
Yeah, we got the grit.
Yeah,
we got the grit.
We
killed men.
We got 3 gritty characters and 2 complete assholes.
I can guarantee at 2 points in that comic book story, there was one speech of, "There's no redeeming me, kid. I have blood on my hands."
Well, that's mostly about Archangel, not Wolverine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And then I can guarantee the second speech was, "Is a killer really all I am? Is that all I'll ever be?"
I don't know if we got to that point, but that's pretty much it. It's actually not horrible, though. The art is pretty good.
No, it's pretty good.
The art is pretty good, and the character designs are kind of cool, and they fight Apocalypse and his horsemen on the moon. It's actually not too bad. It's not great either. It's not great either, but
is that the one with the drummer man who can kill people?
Yeah. That's the fella.
Oh, I love that one.
He was a spy in the Union Army, who spied as a drummer in the Confederate Army in the American Civil War. And when he got home, his own side found his uniform from when he was a spy, and assuming he was a traitor, lynched him.
Oh no!
And that's when his mutant power to give you cancer with his drum manifested.
They say he was trained by J.K. Simmons.
You're like, give me cancer faster, boy. No, not that fast. That's too fast.
That's too bloody fast.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent little series. Michael,
yeah.
I am here for the next thing that you have on the list, because one of my favorite things, ladies and gentlemen, to do is sit here and listen to one Michael J. Leonard.
Hello, that's me.
wax lyrical
Right.
about the Warhammer 40k.
Oh, Ben,
universe.
I like Warhammer 40,000. It's awesome. Benjamin, have you ever heard of Space Marines?
I have, yeah, they're big lads.
They're big lads, Ben. They're
drink a lot
8 foot
of
tall.
milk.
They're 8 foot tall human super soldiers, like enhanced with technology and powered armor.
Ooh.
And they're always calling each other brother, and they're like, "Suffer not the alien to live, brothers." You know, they're like that. They're
It's a classic radical religious credo.
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Hope is the first step on the road to disappointment, brothers. That kind of thing.
Jesus.
You know, they're.
That's what you told me when we started this podcast.
I know, yeah, that's the motto of the podcast. I have it tattooed on my buttock. Benjamin. But anyway, there are lots of different chapters of Space Marines.
Very good.
So, for example, Ben, there are the Space Wolves, and the Space Wolves are 8 foot tall Viking werewolf super soldiers in power armor in space.
Why are they werewolves?
Because they're also werewolves, Ben. Because they're also
just
Space
like
Marines,
that.
but they're also werewolves. Then, Ben, you have the Blood Angels.
Ooh.
And the Blood Angels are 8 foot tall super soldier Anne Rice Victorian vampire super soldier Space Marines in space.
Why are they vampires?
Because they're also vampires, Ben.
Oh, okay.
They're also vampires. Then, Ben, you have the Ultramarines. And the Ultramarines are 8 foot tall super soldier Roman legionnaires in power armor in space.
Nice. My favourite so far.
Yeah. Ben, you have the White Scars. And the White Scars
that sounds-
are 8
I
foot
don't
tall.
know.
No, it's more racist than you think, don't worry. The White Scars, Ben, are 8 foot tall super soldier Mongolian horseback barbarians in space. Yeah, you heard me.
How do they ride horses
They
in
don't.
space?
They ride motorbikes, big giant motorbikes.
How do they ride motorbikes in space?
Well, they're on the ground in space, like on
Oh,
planets
okay.
in space.
Okay. I
Or
thought they
they'll
were
like
just floating around
they'll
space. on
teleport
motorbikes.
onto your spaceship on motorbikes and like
No,
zoom
they
around
won't,
going.
will
Yeah, remember, Ben, spaceships in Warhammer 40,000 are like up to 10 kilometers long. So
Oh, okay, that's
know,
fine.
sorry.
Because I was about to say,
not
I
very
don't know if
practical.
motorbike would fit very well on the deck of the USS Enterprise.
Yeah,
I don't know if
exactly.
they-
Yeah, so it would. The Enterprise is a kilometer long, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something
but
like
it's got tiny little corridors and silly little doors.
Yeah, I mean the Space Marines wouldn't even fit then because they're 8 foot
wouldn't
tall.
even fit.
They're 8 foot tall superhumans in space.
They haven't thought this through, Mike.
Yeah, you have the Dark Angels, Ben, and the Dark Angels are 8 foot tall superhuman medieval knights from the Native American tribes in space.
Second favorite so far, but very confusing.
Very confusing, Ben. They're one of the more confusing ones. So you have all of these different kinds of Space Marines, Ben. It's not just your standard Space Marine. So
And they're
imagine.
all led by Sarah Verse, and together they are chapters and verse.
Very good, Benjamin. But Benjamin,
now.
there are no women in Space Marines.
There's no women in space.
No, there's loads of women in space, but there's no women in Space Marines. They're all men. So make
Why
it
are
that.
there no female space marines?
Because the process of converting you into a Space Marine. Because girls are gross, Ben. No, hold on. What's the real answer? The process
the
of.
Emperor of God, the God Emperor of mankind was like,
Ew,
ew,
girls, ooh, cooties. So Space Marines, Ben, the process of converting a normal human into a Space Marine takes place at male puberty. That's why, canonically, there are no girls. Anyway, what were we
I
saying?
don't know.
So
I
imagine
don't know.
Ben. Imagine
Go on.
the Space Marines are the best of the best.
The best of the best.
But imagine, Ben, if there was a secret shadowy organization who could come
bestest?
along, and they could come along to the Space Marines and they could say, "Hey, the Space Marines, we've got a special mission, and we need people with special skills and abilities, and we need your best werewolf guy." And then the Space Wolves will be like, "We've got the guy you need. That's Gunnar Bukkerson." And then
Nice.
he says, "You're in." And then he goes off on a mysterious black ship. And he goes and he meets 4 other Space Marines from different chapters, Ben. And maybe one of them is an effete vampire man who's good with a sniper rifle. And another one is a motorbike riding Mongolian barbarian. And he's like, I've got a sword.
I see what you did.
You've got your werewolf loose cannon, and then the leader of the group is a stern and boring Roman legionnaire who turns out to have a dark secret, and that's the Death Watch, Ben. They
nice.
They recruit the best of the best from Space Marines and then send them on suicide missions to kill aliens.
I like it.
Very exciting.
What kind of aliens do they kill?
What kind of aliens do you want, Ben? They don't like any of them.
Oh, it's just suffer not the
Xenos to live, Ben.
Oh, nice.
Or to use the Warhammer voice, Ben. Suffer not the alien to live.
Brothers. You gotta throw in the brother every now. Michael, that was a delight.
Imagine
that
Ben.
sounds perfectly silly.
Oh yeah, very silly, Ben. No girls. Ooh, gross.
Ew, gross. Girls, no, thank you.
No, thank you. We don't want any girls. We're doing Space Marine stuff. Mom, we're doing Space Marine stuff, and Janet keeps trying to come in.
Janet, the wannabe Space Marine. I love it. I would like to do a comedy now and have one Catherine Hahn as the first female Space Marine.
Catherine Heigl.
That would be excellent. I would watch that. Catherine Heigl in. I'm gonna have that kid. I'm gonna have that Space Marine costume. Michael, I told you I read the first in the Eisenhower series, didn't I?
Oh, did you? Did you like it?
Oh, it's very good.
It's very good, isn't it?
A top recommendation, Michael. We should do a pitch, please.
Okay, we'll do it
at some point.
We'll do, that is being made into a show, though, isn't it, Ben?
Doesn't matter. We'll pitch it better, and then they'll be like, "Oh, scrap everything we've made so far. Hire these two lads."
Just get
to
Mark
write it."
Strong
And
in.
we'll be like,
Just get Mark Strong in. That's all you need.
Oh, he'd be a great Eisenhower. Oh, Michael. Of all the casting decisions,
No, that's not me,
made,
Ben. That's I believe Mark Strong voiced Eisenhower in a video game once. So
I don't care. It's still excellent.
Everyone knows Mark Strong would be the perfect Eisenhower. Ben,
Yeah.
are there any other Special Forces teams that were worth talking about?
No.
Okay, I've got one. Benjamin. Benjamin.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the television series Spartacus?
Spartacus. No, I didn't.
Did you
I
ever
didn't.
watch it? No.
Because you
Okay.
waited for me to be out of the country so that you and Shane could have a little Spartacus special on this very podcast.
Yes, Spartacus is brilliant, Ben. Spartacus is one of the greatest TV shows of all time. But through the various the various tragedies that befell the production, unfortunately. So, for example, the death of, oh my God, I've forgotten his name. Was it Andrew Whitfield?
Spartacus.
The original Spartacus. I can't believe
I
I forgot his name. So, in the first series, Ben, you're introduced to a character called Crixus.
Nice.
And Crixus is the reigning gladiator champion, and he's basically unbeatable.
Okay.
And Spartacus rises up the ranks to be his equal and perhaps even his better.
Oh, nice.
And they're both trained by the character they call Doctore, which is the Latin for teacher, Ben. And
Is it?
Yeah. And his name later turns out to be Oenomaus. And these are these are all names from historical records of the actual gladiator rebellions in ancient
nice.
Rome.
I
And
like it.
so you have these three characters, and they're the three badasses. But then the show has to go on hiatus for a couple of years while they figure out what to do about the lead actor getting leukemia and unfortunately dying. And they do a prequel series, Ben, where they introduce the character of Gannicus.
Okay.
And Gannicus is played by your favourite actor and mine, Dustin Clare. He's from Australia. He's very small. And
I love Dustin Clare.
Dustin Clare is great. And
I have no idea who he is.
Gannicus is, in his own series, brought up to be, the ultimate gladiator. If anything, he's even better than Crixus, Spartacus, and Oenomaus. And he's the best guy you ever met. But, his series is a fill-in series. So he has his little series and then he disappears off into the wilderness.
And no longer exists?
No, Ben, because later on in series 3 of Spartacus, when they've escaped from the gladiator schools and they're in the wilderness and they're fighting a war against Rome, basically.
Okay,
they're fighting a guerrilla war against Rome, and they gather up basically every badass gladiator who they've met over the course of the series. And the best episodes ever are where they send this essentially gladiator SEAL Team 6 in to solve a problem. And they're so good, these episodes. They're like, we need remove cock from hand and set mine to task. We need 6 of the finest gladiators to go and destroy this supply depot. And then they do a shot, and it's like the 6 heroes from the series. It's like, yes, this is going to be amazing.
I am changing the podcast motto to remove cock from hand and start recording.
Yes.
My God, that is insane.
They have ladies in it, Ben.
Good.
there's two
You're allowed to have
ladies.
ladies and gladiators.
Exactly, yeah. They had ladies in Gladiator School. So they had Katrina Law, who you might remember from being in Arrow.
Oh, yeah.
And they had, I can't remember the actress's name, it's escaped me, but her character's name was Saxa, and you would remember her, Ben, from being killed in Love and Monsters the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the blonde evil Australian lady?
Yeah.
She was one
didn't
of
do
the
too well.
She was one of the SEAL Team 6 of Gladiators from the epic Gladiator show Spartacus.
What a ridiculous idea.
It's brilliant, Ben.
I love it.
It's brilliant. You have to watch it. It's incredible.
I often think of how many people who are actually in special forces watch these things and go, people don't understand us.
No, of course they don't.
They just don't get us.
I've read
Tom
Ben,
Clancy makes too much money.
I've read that the most realistic depiction of special forces was Eric Bana's character and team in the film Black Hawk Down.
I haven't seen it.
It's very good, Ben. They just send them in to silence some machine gun positions, and it's very efficient and brutal, and very methodical, and such a what's the word? A contrast to the panicky normal soldiers like Ewan McGregor.
Okay. I like it.
Very good. Very interesting.
They don't succumb to the fear and the panic, Michael.
No, because they're used to killing people.
Speaking of succumbing to fear and panic, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're not doing too well after listening to this bloody podcast. Oh, the fear. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get in touch with us. And let
it's
us
over,
know.
is it? Okay.
It's over now, yeah.
Okay. Do you not want to hear about more X-Men or something?
We've run out of time, Michael.
Oh, no.
You can get in touch with us in a number of different ways. You can find us on the interwebs at www.seomrabeag.com, SEOMRABEAG.com.
It means tiny room in Irish.
You can also, if you don't fancy that and want to be a bit more new age, find us on the old Instagram, Instantgram, if you will. And it's still Sean Rabeag, SEOMRABEAG.
Ben, you're supposed to say same spelling, and then I say same meaning, more or less.
Sorry.
Stop.
You can also
throwing
find us
me
on Instagram
curveballs.
at Sean Rabeag. Same spelling.
Same meaning, more or less. Whatever.
More or less. Nailed it. Ladies and gentlemen, if we missed anything, do let us know what we missed. If you have any topics that you'd like us to cover in the future, please do let us know. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
do you find yourself sitting around wondering why you don't have good comics to read?
Oh.
I find myself doing this all the time. Well, fear no more, because you can go and find our other podcast, Collecting Issues, where twice a month,
Bi-weekly.
We'll pick up a bloody comic, we'll give it an old read through, and we'll have a read of it. And it's a comic book club, a bi-weekly comic book club, and you can find that as well. And if you'd like to have a chat with us in real time, get up on the Discord.
Hop
find
up
us
on
there. Go give us a chat. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right,
I
bye.
suppose.
Unless
That's all my stuff done.
unless we send a Black Ops team to get you in the meantime.
Yeah, then you won't hear me coming.
You won't. You'll never see me coming. Because I do it in private.